Speakers are Michael Kalmanovitz, who's a member with me of the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network, and Yael, Kahn, who is from, God, I can never remember the initials. Yes.
Oh, you mean the women's...
No, her organization.
Go on, you say it, yeah.
Islington, Friends of Yibna. I made it. Okay. I want to say that we want these two speakers because a crucial part of the 1% is Israel and the Israeli military. A military with a little country attached is what it really is, very closely connected with the American military, a very crucial part of spying and policing a protest all over the world. Michael will tell us more about that.
Okay. I think it's okay, yeah. All right. So we are the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network. Okay, there's nothing unclear about that.
Very precise.
It's very precise. I'll read a tiny section from our charter. So we are uncompromisingly committed to struggles for human emancipation, of which the liberation of Palestine, the Palestinian people and land is an indispensable part. So we are committed. Thank you. We want to dismantle Israeli apartheid. We want to see the return of Palestinian refugees. We want to see the end of Israeli colonization of Palestine. We are both local and international. There are people here from the US and UK, IJAN, but we're also in Argentina, Canada, India, Israel, France, etc. A few other countries. We're not huge, but we have a few numbers. I want to make it clear that IJAN, we as Jewish people, are not the centre of this struggle. It's the Palestinian people who are, and that's where we must take our direction from. We are for the boycott movement. Okay, we're for the whole thing, the academic, cultural and goods boycott. We're for the whole thing till the whole thing is brought down. One of our jobs is to help undermine the way that the Zionists abuse the Holocaust for their own ends. Make it clear, we are Jewish, we're not anti-Semitic, we're not Holocaust deniers, but the way the Zionists use the Holocaust, who make it exclusively the genocide, is wrong. We know there are people here in this room who have suffered from genocide. We have to work together and we're not going to put one above the other. Our impact has been, well, look, the Zionists say that they speak for all Jewish people. We want to say, no, you fucking don't. We're useful in that we can help deal with those accusations of anti-Semitism that are always thrown at people who are critical of Israel or for the boycott movement. Sorry, I just got to find my border. We take the IJAN banner with us everywhere. It says International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network. It's always clear and we're always visible. I want to throw some accusations at the Zionists. Okay, sorry, this is a draft and I'll just look through it. These are true. Okay, these are true. The Israeli military have got everywhere. Okay, this is what people don't know and we're trying to let people know. They helped arm the Guatemalan death squads. They helped arm the Nicaraguan Contras. They helped arm the junta in Argentina. They sold crowd control weaponry to Augusto Pinochet. Okay? In Argentina, where the murder and repression was not only anti-democratic, they were also anti-Semitic, and the Israelis sold to them too. They're all over Africa. I'll just mention that in Rwanda, Israel, alongside the US and Britain, trained, armed and financed the genocide. You get the idea of who we're dealing with here. They armed Pol Pot and Khmer Rouge. They armed the genocidists. Look, I'll stop there, but you get the idea about who they are. I want to end on two victories. Yesterday, the Co-op, the 5th largest food retailer in this country, said it would no longer engage with any supplier of produce known to be sourcing from the settlements. That's the occupied territory. And I want to mention the JNF. It's called the Jewish National Fund, which means people are a bit nervous about dealing with them because it has the word Jewish in the title. They're not Jewish. They're Zionist. It's a fund for Israel. We have, with the Palestinian Boycott National Committee and the Scottish Palestine Solidarity Campaign and ourselves, have a campaign called Stop the JNF. We have an early day motion in Parliament. It's been there about a year now. In that time, and it says essentially, the JNF, which is a charity here and in another 50 countries, are actually stealing land and have done for many, many years. And we want the charitable status revoked everywhere. This early day motion in Parliament has got the signatures of 68 MPs, which is just fantastic considering the pressure that is often put under people if you take an anti-Zionist position. In fact, the JNF wrote to every one of them, asked them to withdraw their signatures, and they said no. There's another week to run.
Isn't that wonderful?
Lobby, if you're a Londoner or if you live in the UK, lobby your MP now. Let us get that up to at least 75 MPs. That's it. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. Sorry, while the EDM was in Parliament, we learnt that their patron, their honorary patron, Cameron, the Prime Minister, resigned his patronage from the JNF. It means for the first time in 100 years, it means for the first time in 100 years that a Prime Minister has not been a patron of the JNF, and it happened now.
Before I ask Yael to speak on Palestinian prisoners, I want to say that my hostility to Zionism is for all the reasons that Michael has given, but one additional one. Jewish people have been disproportionately involved in every single movement for change everywhere, almost everywhere in the world. This has been entirely hidden by Zionism and in fact contradicted by Zionism to such a degree that they who dealt with Hitler, who supported Hitler, that's a story that's still to come out, that they have said that we Jewish people went quietly into the camps, which is the most horrendously anti-Semitic statement that I have ever heard. Now, my pleasure. Yael.
Growing up in Israel, the survivors of the Holocaust were often called soap and ashes. Israel has never had the right to represent the Jews and be the voice against the Holocaust or any genocide. In fact, one of the best friends of Israel is John Hagee. The American in the audience are more likely to know of him. He said that Hitler did God's work when he killed the Jews there, meaning that as a result, the Zionist project was successful. He's one of the most important people supporting Israel. Only a month ago, Netanyahu welcomed him in person and praised him. The anti-Semites are in the camp of the Zionists. They're falsely accusing our camp, the people who fight for justice. The anti-Semites from Balfour to Hagi, they are supporting Israel. Talking about the JNF, for example, the JNF now is involved in the ethnic cleansing of Bedouin Palestinian from the Negev. In El Araqi, they've been destroyed dozens of times. The JNF is the one that is bringing the bulldozer to destroy the village, to destroy the house, to uproot the trees, and plant God TV wood in their home. God TV, again, American would be more familiar, is evangelist, American, anti-Semite, and staunch supporters of Israel. I'm here mainly because I founded a women organization for political prisoners. I did it in the first Intifada in 1988. I've been, since I've been following the condition of the Palestinian prisoners. As we speak, 2,000, the phenomenal number of 2,000 prisoners are currently on open-ended hunger strike. Few of them, as of today, entering the 62nd day of hunger strike. Their life is in danger. The 1% which is controlling the media, even like the BBC, we are paying the license fee. It's still not controlled by us, only paid by us, are silent about it. It's incredible. 2,000 people, including women prisoners, and the prisoners are now punished. Every prisoner who's on hunger strike is punished. They've been isolated. The women who are on hunger strike are removed from their prison to another prison. They are denied family visits. Now they're even denied visits from lawyers. They're even denied visits from Physicians for Human Rights, which is an Israeli organization. That's including the people who are now on the deathbed. The people who are still in prison, still refuse to be allowed to be taken to a hospital, a real hospital. People who are spitting blood, that their body is completely decomposing while it's still the last breath of life. And the media is silent. The prisoners are campaigning against administrative detention, for which Israel is repressing the Palestinian struggle. Any Palestinian who is trying to even create a nursery for children, any sort of a welfare work for the local community, any sort of a struggle at any level against house demolition, against land grab, against arrest in the middle of the night of children. There's a massive wave of arrests, especially targeting children. They are taken as administrative detainees, which is meaning they are there for any time the Israeli want to keep them in prison without charges, without being able to defend themselves. They've never been told why they are in prison. The other demand of this hunger strike is the ending of keeping prisoners for years and years in solitary confinement. And sorry, there was another demand. I can't remember what it was. Sorry, but generally, one of the other demand is all the Palestinian prisoners from Gaza Strip are prohibited from any family visits. There are absolutely no family visits now for years and years. I believe it's now almost 7 years they're not allowed to have any family visits. When prisoners do get family visits, it's always behind a screen. They can't touch the babies, they can't touch the children, they can't have any physical contact with the families. And I don't need to tell you the difference that is when the prisoners are Israelis. There's a huge difference in their condition. The prisoners obviously are subjected, almost all prisoners are subjected to torture all of them subjected to abuse and humiliation. For example, women who cover their hair, they strip their cover. Women who don't cover their hair, they are humiliated that they're not properly Muslim and are a disgrace to their community. So whatever the women do, they are being humiliated. There is a daily humiliation of the women prisoners. They are subjected to 24 hours of abuse by Israeli Jewish women prisoners, as well as the guards. Unfortunately, Israel has succeeded. In mobilizing the Israeli society to a level of racism but very, very few Israel opposed Israeli racism. Partially it was through a very high profile of rape that were in the late 70s, early 80s, where the accused that was rape were all by Palestinians. They arrested Palestinian citizens of Israel, tortured them, extracted false admissions, and it was that hysteria that engulfed the Israeli society, and I personally have experience with that, how it worked, because I decided to go and make a complaint about a sexual attack that I was a victim of. And I believe it was one of the murderers who attacked me. And he was very, very violent. And throughout my interaction with the police, they tried to force me to say that he was a Palestinian. At the time, I wasn't sure what he was. With hindsight, I actually believe that he was Israeli Jew, and I actually think I know his identity. But it just took me years to process it. But for some years throughout this process, the police threatened me if I didn't say that he was Palestinian. They tried to force me to say that he had the Arab glance, and they gave me only photos of Palestinians to identify. And I can imagine that any other Israeli woman, even not a racist, just desperate to have some sympathy, would eventually say yes, he was an Arab. And that's how they managed to actually mobilize the Israeli society. That it's now so anti-Palestinian. It's really scary. It means that it's not surprising, like the slaughter of Gaza in 2008 to 2009 had such a small opposition among Israelis, because the Israelis now be completely convinced with that and follow this dehumanization of the Palestinian. But there is still fantastic groups in Israel, and you might have seen some protests against the Nakba during the Israeli celebration of the creation of the state. And there's still an amazing movement among Palestinians, and one of the most important ways that we can support them is through the BDS, is cultural boycott, is divestment and sanction, and any other boycott. Thank you.